How many of you have been in this exact situation? It's like 10 p.m. You're watching your favorite show, and suddenly you find yourself in the kitchen, bag of potato chips in hand, telling yourself you'll just have a few. But then 20 minutes later, you look down and the bag is basically empty. Yeah, I've been there too. Now, I'm not here to make you feel guilty about your late-night snacking habits. We're all human. But what I am going to do today is share some pretty eye-opening information about what's actually happening to your body when you eat potato chips, especially at night. And trust me, once you understand the science behind this, you might think twice before reaching for that bag. Let's jump right into it. The blood sugar roller coaster. So, reason number one is all about what potato chips do to your blood sugar levels. Now, here's the thing about potato chips. They're basically a combination of two things. Your body processes incredibly quickly refined carbohydrates and fat. When you eat them, your blood sugar shoots up rapidly. We're talking about a glycemic index of around 60 to 70, which is pretty high. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that consuming high glycemic foods causes blood glucose levels to spike within 30 minutes, followed by a sharp crash about 2 to 3 hours later. Now, why does this matter, especially at night? Because when your blood sugar crashes while you're trying to sleep, your body releases stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline to bring it back up. This can wake you up, make you feel restless, or prevent you from getting into that deep, restorative sleep your body needs. And here's something interesting. Research from Brigham and Women's Hospital found that people who consume high glycemic foods within 3 hours of bedtime take an average of 29 minutes longer to fall asleep compared to those who avoid them. That's almost half an hour of tossing and turning that you could avoid just by making a different snack choice. The sodium bomb. Moving on to reason number two, and this is a big one. Sodium content. A standard serving of potato chips, which is about 1 ounce or roughly 15 chips. Let me emphasize that just 15 chips contains anywhere from 120 to 180 milligrams of sodium. But who actually stops at one serving? Most people end up consuming 2 or 3 times that amount in one sitting. Now, the American Heart Association recommends no more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day, with an ideal limit of 1,500 milligrams for most adults. When you eat a bag of chips at night, you could be taking in 400 to 600 milligrams of sodium right before bed. What happens then? Your body retains water to dilute that sodium, which increases blood volume and puts extra pressure on your cardiovascular system. A study from the European Heart Journal tracked over 170,000 participants and found that individuals who consumed high-sodium snacks in the evening had a 23% higher risk of developing hypertension over a 5-year period, compared to those who avoided salty foods after 6 p.m. And beyond the long-term effects, that water retention can make you feel bloated, uncomfortable, and can even cause you to wake up during the night, needing to use the bathroom. Not exactly the recipe for quality sleep. The inflammatory response. Reason number 3 gets into something called inflammation. And this is where things get really interesting from a health perspective. Potato chips are typically fried in vegetable oils like sunflower, corn, or soybean oil. These oils are incredibly high in omega-6 fatty acids. Now, omega-6 isn't inherently bad. Your body needs some of it. But the problem is the ratio. Research published in Nutrients Journal indicates that the ideal ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids should be around 41 or lower. But in Western diets, especially with processed foods like chips, that ratio can be as high as 201 or even 301. This imbalance promotes chronic inflammation throughout your body, which has been linked to everything from heart disease to arthritis to accelerated aging. And here's where the nighttime aspect becomes crucial. A study from the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolisms found that inflammatory markers in the body are naturally lower during sleep, as part of your body's repair process. But when you consume inflammatory foods right before bed, you're essentially forcing your body to deal with inflammation at the exact time it should be healing and recovering. Over time, this pattern can contribute to metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance, and increased disease risk. The acrylamide factor. Now, if you enjoyed learning about that, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow and lets me know you want more content like this. All right, reason number 4, and this one surprised me. When I first learned about it, acrylamide. When starchy foods like potatoes are cooked at high temperatures, above 120 degrees Celsius or 248 degrees Fahrenheit. A chemical reaction occurs between sugars and an amino acid called asparagine. This creates acrylamide, which has been classified by the International Agency for Research on Cancer as a probable human carcinogen. Studies have measured acrylamide levels in potato chips at anywhere from 100 to over 1,000 micrograms per kilogram, depending on cooking temperature and time. The FDA has acknowledged that acrylamide is a concern in the American diet. Now, I'm not saying eating potato chips once in a while is going to cause cancer, but regular consumption does mean regular exposure to this compound. And there's another dimension to this when we talk about eating chips at night. Research from the journal Chronobiology International shows that your body's detoxification systems, primarily managed by your liver, operate on a circadian rhythm. They're most active during the day and slow down significantly at night. So when you consume something with potential toxins like acrylamide right before bed, your body is less equipped to process and eliminate those compounds efficiently. The dopamine addiction loop. And finally, reason number 5 might be the most important one, because it explains why it's so incredibly hard to stop eating potato chips once you start. It's not just about willpower, there's actual neuroscience at play here. Potato chips hit what researchers call the bliss point, a perfect combination of salt, fat, and carbohydrates that triggers your brain's reward system and releases dopamine. A fascinating study from the journal Nature Neuroscience used brain imaging to show that foods high in both fat and carbohydrates activate reward pathways in the brain more intensely than foods with just one of those components. Essentially, potato chips are engineered, whether intentionally or not, to be almost irresistibly appealing to your brain. But here's where the nighttime eating becomes particularly problematic. Research published in the journal Sleep found that people who eat high-reward foods in the evening show increased activation in reward centers of the brain during the following day when exposed to food cues. What this means is that eating chips at night can actually make you crave more unhealthy foods the next day, creating a cycle that becomes progressively harder to break. Additionally, a study tracking over 120,000 people over 20 years, published in the New England Journal of Medicine, found that potato chips were the food most strongly associated with weight gain over time. Participants who ate chips regularly gained an average of 1.69 pounds every 4 years, more than any other food in the study. So there you have it, 5 science-backed reasons to reconsider your relationship with potato chips, especially as a nighttime snack. From blood sugar disruption and cardiovascular stress to inflammation, toxin exposure, and the addictive nature of these foods, the evidence is pretty compelling. Now, I'm not saying you can never enjoy potato chips again. Life is about balance, not perfection. But being aware of what's actually happening in your body when you eat them, particularly before bed, gives you the power to make informed choices. If you found this information helpful and want to see more evidence-based health content, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss future videos. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves.